Welcome to Grace. Never heard of her. I'm Gina.
And I'm Maddie. We're two moms, two friends, two overstimulated women navigating motherhood, new identities, and careers, all while challenging society's expectations and redefining what it means to do it all.
Because Grace, well, never heard of her, but word is she's worth getting to know. Hey Pod fam, welcome back to another episode of venting, reminiscing, laughing, crying. Who knows
All the
what it's gonna
things.
be? You know, it's a crapshoot. Hey Maddie, how's it going?
You know, it's going. I feel like we're back into a routine, which actually feels good. Like I crave getting out of the routine and structure, and then as soon as I'm out of it, I crave to get back into it. And I think that's just the fun cycle of life, huh?
I would agree. Okay, so I compulsively change my hair. Whenever I talk to a stylist and he or she either doesn't believe in my vision, I go find another one. So I reached out to somebody that I thought did a really good job, and she was like, "Okay, we have to do a consultation," which, I mean, thank God she does. But I drove 30 minutes to consult, and I was like, "I wanna be blonde." And she's like, "Oh, of course you do." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I've been light before." And she was just like, "That is just so unrealistic, like, blah, 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 the integrity of your hair." So I go, "Okay, I guess I'll just go back to being ugly." So she basically she rejected me. She's like, "Sorry, maybe you'll find a hairstylist that can do it, but not here." I was just like, "Oh my God, I, like, legit felt rejected." I hated it, but, I mean,
How blonde are we talking? Like highlights or all over? What are
all
we thinking?
all over. I asked ChatGPT. I sent a picture of myself, and I was like, "What is the best shade for me?" And it picked, a beige blonde, and so I was like, "Great, mock up a picture of me with that." And that's what I showed the hairstylist, and she was like, "She has a lighter base than you, da da." I was like, "That's me." That's me with AI.
Oh my gosh.
No,
It could have been hallucinating. You don't
I know.
know.
I
ChatGPT could be lying.
what a world. I know. Could you imagine a world in which ChatGPT is not accurate? Like, what? Um, but I left that hair salon and I was like, "She probably thinks I'm such an idiot. She's probably gonna talk to all of her coworkers about how stupid I was," and
Blonde, so much upkeep.
well,
Like
that's what
you
yeah,
and it's expensive. It's
I
like
know.
brown is financially responsible.
That should be our motto, brown is
Yeah.
sound. Um, well, on a happier note, though, something that I keep coming back to is I think I've successfully turned Leo and Jonah into Swifties.
Ooh.
We have moved on from K-pop demon hunters. We are now fans of Life of a Showgirl, and when I tell you, every day when I either take them to school or pick them up from school, he belts Life of a Showgirl. It is the cutest, and then obviously since Jonah's not singing yet, when the song ends, he'll go, "More? More?" But Leo said to me, "Mommy, when I'm older, I wanna be a singer. I love to sing."
He is. He's gonna be a performer. And
He has
also,
to.
we need a video of him belting that song.
I I wanna take one so bad, but it's my phone's always playing the music.
Mm.
And so if you try to videotape it, the music stops.
All right, Chris, you need to be in on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
need to
we'll do
get
a
Chris in
a
there.
setup. Yeah.
So, that was the peak and valley of my week.
I was gonna say similar. No, not similar at all. Like, what? We we joined the Y as our
Fun.
winter activity because every single dance, gymnastics class is either full or they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you can come at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday." Really? Can I? Um, so we joined the Y to potentially try swim lessons or just get in the pool more and get them more comfortable with the water. You can do kid drop. So they literally like Saturdays, Tyler and I could go work out and put them in the kid zone for an hour. Yeah, worth all of the money. Yeah.
Sign me
Gina's like,
up.
I'm looking it up right now.
No, like, actually.
Yeah. The one thing I will say that I wasn't prepared for, I haven't been in like locker rooms since high school, probably.
Yeah.
Um, these older women in particular that just have no problem, boobs, bushes in your face. And I'm like, this is uncomfortable for my 4-year-old daughter. Like, why does she need to be looking at your naked body right now? Use a
Yeah.
changing room. And
Yeah. They do. They have no shame. They're just like, "Hello,
which,
world."
like, is good. Good for you. Like, that's how I want you to be, but not in front
Right.
of my daughter.
I know. I feel like there's a happy medium.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to maybe necessarily be completely hidden, but do you need to just be walking around naked? Maybe you can just get dressed in a corner and then walk around. So, I hear you.
But outside of the why, I feel like we haven't checked in on how work's been going for either of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, you're right. That's something we don't really talk about much. Something actually that was really cool that happened, shout out to my boss. She decided for the new year she wanted everybody on her team to kind of brief her top level on our life story, who we are, what we were like, motivates us. And I loved that because the intent behind it was so that she could get a better understanding of how to work with us. What was really interesting is that it kind of took me back into this mindset of thinking about just like, how did I get here? I was going through everything of just how I picked my major, how I fell into this career, how my brother and I were first generation college. There's so many things that I guess I just haven't really thought about in a while. And it's interesting because I don't know how I got here and I wish maybe I got somewhere else. With the knowledge that I have now, I wish I could go back and do things so much differently. I didn't have that knowledge though at 17, 16, 17, when we're trying to decide where to go and what to do with our lives. So I feel like I just did everything safe. Do you feel similar?
I remember like nearing graduation and I I don't know if it was my college or my friend group, but everybody secured jobs before they graduated for the most part where I went to school. And so I remember already feeling behind that I didn't have a job secured after graduation. And I think I put so much pressure on myself that I assumed whatever job you picked out of college, that was it. That was your
Mhm.
life. And so think
Talk
about like
about
the
pressure.
just seriously so much pressure. And I didn't get a job right after school. I like, my parents helped me network to get, some work as I looked for a
Yeah.
job. I ended up getting an internship that paid like shit and then luckily turned into a full-time job that also paid like shit
Oh,
compared
I
to,
know.
again, what my friends were making or, what their careers seemed to be taking off. But
Well, what was your major? Like, what kind of jobs were you looking for?
I was a marketing major and I did a
Okay.
double minor, comms and psych. So I was looking for marketing jobs, but I went to a business school where I think marketing was very misunderstood. Like when I think
Mm,
back to the courses that they offered, marketing appeared to be either sales or social media and that
okay.
like digital marketing. So I was taking all these classes and I was like, I don't really love this. So I feel like I had a really tough time understanding what I wanted as a next step because I knew I didn't want sales and I knew I didn't love social media. So I was like, where does that leave me? So I guess the internship was a blessing in disguise because I started at a super small startup. It was like me and one or two other people on the marketing team. And so I got to wear all the hats. I got to do a little bit of everything and like test out what I actually liked about marketing. So I guess I just fell into a learning opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting, and you're happy with your field now, right?
I am. So I also fell into demand generation, if you will, or whatever you wanna call it, because, as I progressed, I got a role. I was more on the communication side. I was doing customer communication, and we went through a reorg, and I kinda just got put on the demand gen team.
Wow.
And then ever since, I'm like, "This is what I like." I think it's just because I'm competitive and a numbers girl, and you can actually, like, track and show the ROI of your work, so you can kinda, like,
Yes.
validate the value that you bring.
Yes.
Not sure that's a good thing.
No, I'm the same way. There is this quiz type thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of Myers-Briggs, or it's similar to that. It's called Discovery Insights, where you answer very, very simple questions. Like, it gives you 4 adjectives, and it's like, pick the one you relate to the most down to the one you relate to the least, and it spits out the most accurate, detailed overview of me that I've ever seen. It's freaky. How do you get so specific off of just those questions? You know? And so, anyway, I say that because one thing that continued to pop up for me was I need to be able to see the impact of my work. I tried to
Mm,
be in sales for a hot minute because I'm a personality person. So, yeah, talking to people, that's what I like to do. So I'm like, yeah, I could make extra money and just talk to people. That'll be great. But I hated it. There was so much ambiguity. You would just email, 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 and then not hear back. And I'd be like, what did I do with my whole day? Like, what is happening? And so it was so not for me. So I'm with you. And I think, too, what's so interesting is just when I think back to who I was pre-post becoming a mom, nobody warned me for that part, that aspect. First of all, going back to the boomer generation, a lot of my mom's friends, that were so excited for me to start a family, were so shocked that I was gonna keep working. They're like, "Well, why aren't you staying home? And these are years that you can't get back, and why would you want somebody else to raise your kids?" And there's absolutely no shade to moms who stay home. I just, A, couldn't afford that. We are a two-income household, we have to be. I
yeah.
if I went to completely 0, I mean, granted, we wouldn't have be paying out the butt for daycare, so, like, we would have that, but we would be living a very different life, very different, and people are happy to do that. So, again, I'm not talking shit on that. It's just something that I didn't wanna have to do, like, to be able to have this freedom in life and then all of a sudden have a kid and then lose all of that financial freedom just didn't seem like an option for me. So, I always knew I was gonna keep working. I always put my effort into work. That was all I had. I wanted to get noticed, I wanted to get promoted, I wanted to continue to just build my career because what else was I doing? What I wasn't prepared for was once I had Leo, the shift. This is what it feels like to feel purpose. This is what it feels like to truly feel passionate about something, to feel joy, genuine joy. It it was almost like it was like a switch flip of, like, everything I've ever known about my job is different now because I never enjoyed working per se. I enjoyed chasing the success. It wasn't actually the work I was doing that brought me joy. I don't like
Mm,
sitting in front of a desk from 9 to 5 and emailing clients and, like, people emailing me being so mad about something. Their CTR was low, and I have to be like, "We're so sorry to hear that. Would you like make good?" No, I don't. What? So now I'm, like, literally in love with spending time with my baby. The thought of having to go back to that was painful. I mean, I was like, "How am I supposed to say goodbye to my sweet little baby and go sit and deal with this bullshit at work?" It
mm.
was challenging.
I have a completely different perspective on it, and
Ooh, let's hear it.
I think I felt a lot of guilt and shame around the way I feel about this subject because I think I have a belief that everybody feels the way you felt
Yeah.
about returning to work. So for me, I was excited to get back to work and similar, always knew we were going to be a dual income. Both of us were working after kids' household. That was never a question. I enjoy my work. Like, my sense of purpose does come from work, and I think it was interesting after I had Zoe, like, there was a lot of goodness in just maybe, like, balancing out the I cared too much about certain things at work, or
Mhm.
I'd let little things irk me, or I just put all this extra pressure on myself that I think I got the benefit of relieving some of that once I had Zoe, because it no longer mattered as much, or maybe you don't have the capacity, maybe that's more of it,
Yeah.
but the anticipation of going back to work, yes, like, I think there's so much that could have gone better, or I coulda had more support or whatever it may have been, but I was excited to get back to work, and I almost
Mm.
think I still felt a stronger sense of purpose and connection to my work than maybe I did to motherhood, which feels very kind of, like, taboo to say that, and I think that's where the shame and guilt came in is I struggle, I think, sometimes or a lot of the times to feel like motherhood is my number one purpose in this world, or that
Right.
my kids are the source of so much joy or whatever it may be. Like, for me, work is still that. And it almost feels like I'm doing something wrong that that's how I feel.
You're not. No. Absolutely, I can promise you, you should not feel bad or you should not feel like you're doing something wrong. If it's any relief, I feel the same way now. I actually texted my friend who has 4 kids, 4 boys.
Oh my
It's different
gosh.
than 4 kids. 4 boys is a
Yeah.
whole different ballgame.
Wow. She's a saint.
She is, and she's such a good mom. She was one of my first friends to have kids, and so I've always really used her as a North Star in motherhood. And she was stay at home for all 4 of her kids, and she has a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old, so she's been doing this a long time. And I just remember texting her just the other day, and I said, "I'm scared by how unfulfilled I feel sometimes with motherhood." It was over the holidays when the kids were home with us a lot, and I was just like, "Why do I not enjoy this? Like, why am I just waiting for this to end?" And so, I think the reason it came later is because during the newborn stages, I was still doing things for myself. I was still watching
Mm.
Bravo while I just cuddled a cute baby. I was still doing house projects because Leo slept all the time. I was going to the pool while, Chris was working from home and could watch Leo while he napped. Like, there was still so much I was getting out of that. That is why I think I felt so sad to leave it because I was like, "Oh my god, this is
Mm.
so much better than work." Like, I don't wanna go back to that mean place. Like, this is so fun. I'm having so much fun. And right, I was still just in this, like, newborn bliss. I wanna circle back to you because you had such a different newborn experience, and I think that also probably plays a factor. But to to just kind of finish my thought, once Leo became mobile and harder and, down to 2 naps, then down to 1 nap and moody and opinionated, I was like, "Get me back in that office." I could have never foreseen that for myself back
Yeah.
when I was in the newborn stage. It changed so drastically. The thing, though, that's I think still different between us is I wanna just be away from my kids. I don't find a purpose in my job. Like, I don't feel passionate about my job. If I could wave a magic wand, I would be a bridal dress consultant. I would have my own styling service or interior design service. I would be a videographer for weddings. Like, I clearly missed the mark on what I should have been was more of in that creative fields, but again, going back to playing it safe, I landed in, corporate America, salesy, customer service, advertising, whatever you wanna call it, something that brings me 0 joy, but I'm air quoting, "good at" because I'm good at talking to
Mm.
people, and I'm nice, and I'm friendly, and so that's I would say the difference is, like, if I had to choose between being at home with my kids and this job, yeah, I'm gonna choose the job because it's that hard for me to be around my kids all the time, but I'd love option C where I work part-time, we work on our podcast, I work on this book that I idea that I've always had, and I do house projects. That's my dream. So, all that to say, don't feel shame and guilt. We can't be the only ones. I know we're not the only ones. I know that there's gotta be women out there who feel more passionate about their careers.
I want to circle back on a few things. So, one, you texting your friend, did she have any inspiration? Is there anything that she shared that we can share with the pod?
You know what? Let me look. She said, "The hardest thing for me is to not feel like that every day." So I took that
Mm.
as, I don't have a choice, so I can't even let myself go there. And then I said, "You're engulfed with children and you still find ways to enjoy it." I have 2 days a week basically because of daycare. And I'm like, "What's wrong with me?" I go, "I never anticipated this." She said, "Well, the difference is I think a lot of it for you is how you're far away and you don't have a lot of help, which feels worse." I forgot she said that. I do agree with that. I do agree with that. I'd actually love for you to weigh in on that. Has that made a difference in your capacity
Mm.
to enduring your kids for longer periods of time?
1,000%. And
Yeah.
I feel for you every time we talk about this
Yeah.
because I also just don't think like we knew it was hard. We knew we didn't have help, but I don't think we realized the weight and stress that it put on us because I think like even just going back to our last episode talking about marriage and relationships, like you having to be on 24/7. There is no off, like there is no other option. That just automatically heightens everybody's senses and the tension of everything. Like everything just feels that much bigger or more
Yeah.
challenging. Like we used to crave in Texas a night off or like a date night, but it was so sporadic that I would always look to Tyler after that and I'd be like, this isn't restful. I don't feel recharged. I'm not
Yes.
getting like what I thought I was going to get out of this. And so I think it is that consistency or just like there's always something on the books or like you have something where you can be like, yes, this is a time and it happens repetitively enough that like I actually can get relief from it.
Yes. That makes me feel better, actually, because it's relentless. I mean, if I wake up, let's say at 5 in the morning, I could have an hour, 2 hours to myself. And then if the kids go down by 8, I have maybe an hour to 2 hours of myself for myself. So it's like, yeah, it's kids work, kids sleep,
Mhm.
kids work, kids sleep, and then here comes the weekend, kids all day except for the hour of quiet time for Leo when Jonah's napping, and I mean, I just do that day in and day out for the last 4 years, so
Yeah. Can I ask a question cuz I also get wrapped up in this? Do you feel like you have to constantly entertain your kids when they're home with you?
Sure do.
So I think
I hate that, by
that's
the way.
I think that's where we're getting it wrong. Like I think there are
Yeah.
opportunities for us to put ourselves first and our kids integrate versus I feel like I don't know society whatever everybody has made us believe or think that we should be, like, catering to our kids and making these great, fun, interactive learning environments all the time for our kids, and it's like,
Yeah.
"No, sorry, you might find it really boring, but we need to go grocery shopping, we have errands we need to run," or guess what? I want to go enjoy a cup of coffee at a cafe, and you might have a meltdown, like, at that cafe, but that's what we're doing, and I've seen a couple things actually on Instagram of, like, parents one day, they do prioritize activities for their kids, but the second day, their kids integrate into their lives and what they want to do and what they need to do. So if you wanna go to a brewery, guess what, kids? We're going to a brewery today, and it's about us, and here's some games and activities, figure it out.
I felt like we did more of that when we were in Texas, for sure, and I probably because we had a group of friends that
Yeah,
were all doing the same thing. Like,
yeah,
we would get all the friends together and then be like, "Figure it out, kids."
yeah,
You're right. It's so hard. It goes back to my difficulty compartmentalizing. Like, for example, on a Saturday, if I want to work on stuff for our podcast, I can't, like, I'll sit maybe in the same room as the kids. They're playing but then it's like, "Mama, mama, mama," and they come over to me and I'm just so distracted. Like, look at
yeah,
Chris and I'm like, "I just need like 2 hours of solid uninterrupted time." Leo's a champ. If Leo was an only child, I'd be, like, thriving right now because he's at that age where he just listens and he's pretty self-reliant, but, like, with Jonah, he takes off into traffic. Like, I walk with both kids out of daycare. I pull up right to the front, so Leo's door is right off the sidewalk, but Jonah is on the other side. So I go to grab his hand, he starts rolling around. I've got, like, papers in my hand, jackets, and I'm like, if I let go, he literally would run into traffic. Like, it's so hard taking the both of them places.
mm,
And so I think that's another aspect of it. When there was just one or when Jonah was way easier, one parent could take both, and then the other parent kind of got that relief. But it feels like now we're always on with somebody.
mm,
I don't want it to come across like I'm complaining about it because I want to acknowledge how women can do this, harder things than this. What I'm trying to convey is just how hard it is for me. Like, there's something in my body that just feels so stressed by it all, so uneasy by it all. And I have to get the kids out of the house, and it's just like I'm just sitting at this whatever bounce house thinking like, "Man, I could be painting my bathroom right now." Like, I hate that that's where my brain goes, but I truly, if I could sum it up, I don't feel like there's enough hours in the day. I don't feel like I have time to live because I am either working or
mm,
momming, and that's the rub. And I'm not gonna resent my kids, so I resent my job. I resent
mm.
the workforce. Like, don't handcuff me to my desk all day. I wanna live my life. 'Cause I
No,
can't
you're
live my
right.
life outside of that.
I cannot relate to that because I'm 100% remote, so I'm in the house all day long, and I've talked a lot about that I feel so much guilt when I'm doing household things during the work hours or yeah, like my brain is fried and I need to take a break from work. So I work on the pod or there is a house project that comes up and I forget who I was talking to about this, but they were basically saying on, like, any given day, somebody is only giving, like, 4 good hours of
Yeah,
work
yeah,
anyway, and I think what I hate is that we're still just tied to this, like, 9 to 5,
right,
and I know some people are even beyond that. There's extra, so it's like a 50-hour work week or a 60-hour work week,
right.
and I hate that we've been conditioned to believe our value is the number of hours we put in a job versus what we're producing at our job, because I actually feel
Yep,
good about the work that I'm doing, and I'm not falling behind, and I'm meeting deadlines, and I think delivering like a good product when I do deliver on what the expectations are. But I also need like that is how I re-energize and how I feel like I can prioritize parts of myself throughout the day to show
Yeah.
up better for my kids after work because I will like block an hour, call it a lunch hour, call it whatever you want, and it's time to do something for me. And I was somebody actually told me they're like literally put the block on your calendar and put what you are going to do in that time so that you have a set break where you are prioritizing whatever it is you need to fill your cup.
Can you believe we used to commute to an office 5 days a week? Like,
I I
what?
used to at one point I would get a ride or I would have to drive to a train station, get on a commuter rail, commute 45 minutes to an hour into the city, walk to the office, and then do the reverse of it back.
I know, I know. That's what was a big factor in why I wanted to leave Chicago was because I had to walk 12 minutes to a train in sub-zero temperatures, wait outside for it, and then get on, and it's so crowded, you are dripping in sweat because you're bundled up all the way, and I just remember being like, "Why am I choosing to live like this?" I digress. So, I'm with you because I work remote too, and there's a part of this that's a me problem. I know that. It's just the way my brain worked. I've talked to you about this before, where I have a hard time just, like, stopping what I'm doing, shifting my brain to something that brings me joy, and
Mm.
then having to end that joy to go back to it. It's almost like I just need to, like, power through, and then I can shut it off and then go do what I wanna do. So, right, there are solutions. My job particularly is unique because it is client facing, meaning so many of my deadlines and my tasks are beholden to what the client wants when they want it. So, I could go into a workday and say, "Wow, I have a really light day today." And at 1 PM, a VIP client, "Oh, the world's on fire. We need to pause all of our media." I can't say I'll take care of it Monday. Like,
Mm.
that's not the world I live in. I have to take care of it, and I will say, like, I have gotten way better at creating boundaries for myself at work. Back in my my mid-20s, it was like, "Oh, I have to pay my dues, I have to prove myself," and having kids really forced me to have to draw a line in the sand. When people are trying to ping me at 7 o'clock, "Sorry, I'm giving my kid a bath, you're gonna have to wait." Like, so it really helped me get better at that. I don't know if I would have gotten there on my own, but the client aspect, I feel like I lose a lot of agency in my scheduling and, managing my workload just because I'm beholden to them, and I hate that, but alas, here I am, 15 years in.
That's a very valid point. And I know you touched on kind of option C of what you would be doing if you weren't doing this, but I can imagine you have explored different roles and opportunities. And talk to me a little bit about
Why I'm putting
uh,
myself through this torture.
no, because I totally can understand. Like, there's so many external pressures. Like, you and Chris just moved back to Chicago. You have a mortgage, you have daycare. Like, there's so many external factors that I think people don't talk about or realize that I don't want to say like make you stuck, but I'm sure there's feelings of there's only so many ways you can maneuver through this to make math work or make schedules work or make life work.
I am so glad that you touched on this because, yes, this is something I feel so deeply. I'm about to be 36 for context. So I started working 22, and I think what happened to me over time, I had this feeling, if you will, of opportunity. When I left college and, I got a job at a PR agency, which ironically enough was fully remote, and I hated it. I was like, "Oh my god," because I just left college and now I'm sitting in my bedroom of my parents' house.
Mm.
I always, like, saw myself in, something creative, like I said, fashion, writing, broadcasting, pipe dream, movie star. So, when I would get these jobs that didn't check any of those boxes, I would just be like, "Okay, this is just a stepping stone. This is just something I'll do to fill the time until I find what I'm actually meant to do." Well, years go by, and I, as you know, have had a lot of personal decisions that brought me to different cities. And because of moving to different cities, I would have to find new jobs. And so a lot of times I wasn't trying to get the best job, the dream job. I was just trying to get to where I wanted to be. So I would say almost every job, if not every job, was lateral. Like it was just like doing the same thing somewhere else, same thing somewhere else, so I could just get there. So I could get to New York, so I could get to Dallas, so I could get to Chicago. Well, now, once, 15 years, almost 15 years of work experience, if I were to explore another field, I would have to most likely, right? I don't want to say absolutely, but most likely I would have to start from the beginning and take a 50% pay cut. We cannot afford that. I think back the season of Friends where Chandler takes an internship and then it, like,
Mm.
magically turns into this great job. Like, cool, yeah, that's all well and good, but the job market is not like that. Very, very qualified people can't get jobs because of AI and all the layoffs, and it's scary. So, like, there's a part of me that feels very thankful to even have a job, but at the same time, kind of sitting here in what feels like a midlife crisis of a career of just like, how did I get here? How is this what I'm doing with my life, my time? I'm going to be working for at least 20 more years. I I can't imagine doing this for 20 years. That makes me like physically ill because it just feels so unfulfilling, so unimportant. I don't care about ROI. I don't. Let me live. I think that was the biggest thing was this it was this awakening of
Mm.
let me live. And what's so frustrating to me, and I bet a lot of millennials feel this, is that we were told to do what we're doing and we would be successful. It's right, like, I didn't go rogue. I played it safe. I went to college. I took a major in communications. I got a corporate job. I worked my ass off for many, many years. I never took time off.
Yeah.
And why am I struggling? Why can't I afford new clothes? It's infuriating. I feel bamboozled is what I feel. It's not that I'm like, I don't wanna work hard. That's the other thing. I hate how people the millennials or the lazy generation. Do you know how many nights and weekends I've worked in my I
Yeah.
paid my damn dues.
I think a lot of what I've been peeling back the layers on
Yeah.
is what success actually looks like for me. Because I think society, our parents, everybody has it's the American dream that you're going to get a job, that you're going to start a family, you're going to buy this beautiful home, you're going to have this perfect life, if you will. And I
Yep.
think we've all been fed lies and we're trying to achieve somebody else's dream that we believe is ours. And
Yep.
so I want to turn it back on you of like, what does success actually look and feel like for you?
No, you're so right. My brain is wired to believe that success is from a job. It's from making more money. My idea of success is freedom. It's the ability to spend time with my kids and be happy that I'm spending time with my kids because I know that I have time later on in the day to myself and not frustrated because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to get to work and then how am I gonna meal prep?" I'm stretched so thin that the easiest things get the bottom of the barrel, my marriage, me, my own self-care. So, success to me would be to find a way to have a stable income and finding something that I can do on my own time. I decide when I wanna put more work into it. I decide when I wanna take a step back. That that flexibility and freedom is, to me, the new American dream, at least in my world.
Think time and flexibility is definitely on my list as well. I used to think that success was like chasing more. Like you're always chasing
Yes.
more. You want to be able to afford the insta worthy home. You want to fill that home with all of this expensive curated furniture and it's so
Yep.
aesthetically pleasing. And I think I've done a lot of work to undo all of that. Like, who was I actually doing that for? Was it actually serving me? And I
Yep.
think the move from Texas, being in a rental, finding our home now, we kind of fell into, I don't wanna say, like, simpler times or like a simpler setup of like I struggled a lot with we when we moved back, like we thought we were finding our forever home and we ended up finding a home that we planned to be in for maybe 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And so I think uh, success to me is doing meaningful work, making enough money to set your kids up for I want to be able to pay for their college. That's like the greatest gift I was ever given. I want to be able to do that for them. I want to invest in our retirement so that we can be set up. I want to be able to take my family on a vacation once a year and do some local trips and I want to not be so caught up in the trends, and I don't
Yeah.
want the latest and greatest purse. Like, what? I don't
Yeah.
need the clothes, I don't need the stuff, and I think I was tying success to all of these materialistic things that everybody has pushed down our throats that I think that has helped me reframe and find joy or just take that, like, stressor out because if I take a step back, like, I'm doing that. That's what I'm doing, and you should celebrate. I feel for the first time like we are actually prioritizing the right things. We have recentered around, like, what our family values are, and it's hard because, like, again, you're gonna be distracted. People are going to have things you once thought you wanted or have things that you do want, but you're like, "That's just not in the cards right now." And so I think it's a constant daily, weekly battle,
Yeah.
but I love that we talked about success because I think a lot of what comes from work feels like more, and climbing this corporate ladder,
Yep.
and I think it's like, "No, what like, let's flip this on its head. What do you actually how do you wanna live your life?" And use work as like a multiplier of that, not the crux of it all.
I really appreciate your perspective on that and how you framed that. When you said chasing more, that struck such a chord with me. There's a book, it's called Chasing Slow for anybody that
Mm.
has a hard time, like with me, with always kind of keeping up with the Joneses, always thinking you need more. It's a great book for that. It may not sound like it, but I do believe that I have a very blessed life. We are very lucky. We have our health, we have a home, we have each other. Something that you said, and I'm like so inspired, but also low key jealous that you are like, we are prioritizing the right things. I will never miss anything. Like, I'm gonna go to their plays. I'm gonna go be a secret reader. I'm One of the reasons I love my job is because it's full of moms that get it and are totally fine with that type of flexibility. Yeah, that might mean I need to work more at night or on the weekends. I'll never miss the kid stuff. So I'm not gonna sit here and say like, "Oh, I was at work when I could have been X." But being away from my kids, I think it just puts that much more pressure on it for me that it has to be worth it. It has to be
Mm.
meaningful. I'm dropping my kids off at daycare to do what? You know? Like, I feel like I have to be doing something that I'm proud of, that I could go back and say, "Yeah, I didn't stay home with you guys, but it's because I was helping the world be a better place, and I'm in media. We're not saving lives."
That's a very fair point. I Back to my friend Jay Shetty, I'm reading his book, Eight
What's it called?
Eight Rules of Love by Jay Shetty. He talks about purpose, and that's another thing we get caught up on is that, like, our work needs to equal our purpose, and I
Yeah,
think how he reframes it is, like, we all want to find our sense of purpose, and as parents especially, it's really hard to prioritize that and figure out what your purpose is, because a lot of people don't even know what their purpose is
right.
or how that shows up, and he says, like, as parents, you can figure out, are you both going all in on your purpose at the same time, and know that that is gonna come with sacrifices, and maybe you don't have time for each other because you're so focused on filling the open time that you have with whatever your purpose is. Or are you gonna decide that one of you gets to go in on your purpose right now? Well, the other one has kind of the stability and
Yeah.
carries some of the other load, and then you flip-flop. And so, I guess I say that just to challenge that for you. Does work have to be your purpose, or are there areas where you can find a sense of purpose in activities, hobbies, groups outside of work that might help fill your cup in a way that the pressure of work being the end all be all is not it for you?
This pod has become that for me. Chris, he's like, "Ever since I've known you for 10 years, I don't think I've ever seen you so excited and passionate about something. It's awesome to see that." And I was like, "I do. I love it. I love talking to my friend about how
I
hard life
know.
is."
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. I know it's a passion project maybe right now, but it is. It's like therapeutic, and it's just you feel less
Yeah,
alone, and you can talk about all the hard things that maybe we would just breeze over if we were just having a conversation. So,
exactly. I think a takeaway from today is just release the pressure valve a bit, which is what, a very common theme in all of our discussions, and just rewrite our success story the way it fits our family and fits us now. So, to be continued, because we're not gonna solve that problem overnight.
I love the conversation we had today. I think it's so important and relatable. This like almost identity crisis that you go through as you enter into parenthood, not just moms. I'm sure
Mhm,
fathers feel the same. I think that it's also just an interesting dynamic when you are a dual income household. We
mhm,
didn't even get to touch on how that, you know, how you balance things out as both being working professionals and how that goes against
mhm.
like society's norms. But I think a theme is just society as a whole has probably told us a lot of lies. And if our kids can teach us anything, where that damn book that I hate with a burning passion, What to Expect When You're Expecting, that's a bunch of bullshit, because every pregnancy is unique and different, every kid is unique and different, and there is no playbook. And so it's like, why are we living out the playbook of society when we are unique individuals, we are unique nuclear families. We have differing needs and wants in this life, and screw the world
Screw
for
big pharma.
screw everybody for telling us all these lies. Now we need to unlearn it all, and it's hard
I
freaking
know.
work.
Just add that while we're learning all these toxic behaviors we have towards our husbands and towards our kids, and make sure you're working out and eating healthy and keeping a social life and finding time for yourself. Just add it. It's not that hard, right?
No, these are the easy things.
Right. I feel like I just thought of a motto that I'm gonna take with me for the rest of my life.
Let's hear it.
Keep we can workshop this a little bit, but something along the lines of, "Keep your boobs, bushes, and bullshit out of my face."
I love that. Next tattoo. Next tattoo.
Oh, man. You know what I just realized? We haven't done our joy of the
Oh my
week in,
gosh.
like, several episodes.
You're right.
My joy's small but mighty. Jonah, he's starting to talk so much and in his little language, and I just love it, and I don't know why, but one thing that he says like, melts my heart. He goes, "Mama, man, mama, man." That means, "Come on," like, "Come with me, follow me." Like, he'll be walking into a room, "Mama, man, man," and I just think it's the cutest thing.
I love when they start talking more, and
I know.
it's a double-edged sword because Parker can be very demanding and have lots of things to say, but it is adorable.
I
Yeah.
will always be somebody who can relate to a talkative child, so I feel your pain.
Yes. I think my joy is I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod. I think I've shared it with you that Zoe had, like, a phase where she was all about Tyler, and he would say, "I love you," and she wouldn't say it back, and it was almost like
Oh,
she knew she was, like, withholding. Um, and I never really took it personally, but I think it's just a theme, like, it's just something that feels relevant to my life, but, in the morning, Tyler takes the kids, he does drop off, and I usually do pick up, and oh my god, Parker will, like, give his love away. He says, "I love you" all the time. He's so sweet. It comes out of nowhere too. But in the morning when I'm like, "Oh my god, I just wrestled alligators to get these freaking kids in the car," and Zoe
yep.
needs a million things. She needs to hold her blanket, she needs to hold her book, she needs all of the toys on the floor of the car to get to school, and then Parker's like, "No, Imma do it. Imma do it. Imma do it." And then you see his, like, legs flail in the air as he's trying to, like, climb into his car seat.
Oh my god.
I'm just like, "Oh my god, I can't do this." But then they're seated in their car seats and, like, I'm about to shut the door, and I just whatever, I switch it on. I'm like, "Okay, we did the damn thing. You guys have a good day. Like, I love you." And now
Yeah,
they both are just like, "Bye. I love you. I love you." And they're both just, like, screaming it. And I'm like, it's
yeah.
so sweet and just, like, sincere. But I'm also like, "Oh my god, did you put me through hell to get here? Like, I deserve an award for keeping my composure as you just pissed me the hell off, and now you're gonna scream 'I love you' in my face."
The emotional abuse that these children it's warfare that they put us through. It
It's true.
it's unbelievable, but I feel like that story sums up motherhood to a T. We go through
Yeah.
hell. The lows are so low sometimes, but damn, those highs are high. Those
Yeah.
I love yous. Phew, make it
Is
all
it
go away,
a metaphor for life?
probably. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope this was as cathartic for you as it was for me. We will see you again.
Bye. And that concludes your free therapy session, brought to you by two people with lots of opinions and zero certifications. Don't forget to bill your insurance, emotionally or otherwise. And be sure to follow us on Instagram at GraceWhoPod. That's Grace, WHO Pod.
Tune in next time for another deep dive into something we'll probably overthink and under-resolve. And while our search for grace continues, let's at least try to find a little joy in between.